Greetings, hoop heads. It is your buddy Chop It On coming at you with an episode of Chop Talk brought to you by DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for everything DFS, NBA, NFL, NHL, PGA, doesn't matter. We've got it covered. You can see all of the tabs right up here at the top with drop-down menus and everything when you visit the site, DFSArmy.com. To find the site, comments section down there at the bottom. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and the next thing you know, you're off and running every time I put something out. I cover most of the major sports. And I will absolutely tell you when I am okay at a sport, when I'm pretty good at a sport, and when I'm not very good at a sport. Now, why on earth would I do that? Why on earth would I tell you that I'm good at NFL, good at NHL, good at MLB, not so good at PGA, not even though I carry a sub-3 handicap in real life. Not that good at NASCAR, not that good at NBA, but yet I play these sports. Well, because I represent DFSArmy.com. I am lead content writer and senior editor for the website. However you want to slap that title together, whatever. I edit the content and I cover a few of the sports myself. All that means is that I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I'm a very well-rounded DFS player. I study the fundamentals. I study bankroll management, contest selection, all that stuff. That's generally what my coaching room centers around. If you need that kind of advice, I'm your guy. But if you need specific sport type stuff where you really want to dive deep into numbers, I'm not your guy. What I do is I touch the surface of most of these sports. And I can get you pointed in the right direction. I can get your research point, but I can also tell you where the resources are that will drive your research even deeper. So I try to take things, hockey, I went pretty deep the past couple of days at the beginning of the season. We'll soften that up and shorten that stuff up. NFL, we're getting pretty shallow right now because I know where all the content is. I subscribe to the Dale Carnegie mastermind theory, which means I don't have to know everything. I just have to know the guys who do know everything. I got a great auto mechanic, a great electrician. I can ask those guys questions. I don't need to study that stuff. It's not my thing. I got a great weather guy in Mark at dfsweather.com. I got great guys that I can ask these types of questions to that I can then focus my energies on other things. Hopefully you're the same way. You got a day job. You got to do this stuff. You got to get your 9 to 5 done before you can come play DFS. And what you need to know is you need to know where to go. That's what we do at DFSArmy.com. We have 20 coaches, 40 staff. We have over 2,000 members that are all here for you to help guide you and help make you a better player. Here's what we're going to do today. Since this is yesterday's stuff, we're not going to focus too much on yesterday's information, but I do want to show you what you're looking at when you become a VIP and you unlock the research stations and the domination station optimizers and whatnot at DFSArmy.com. Is you got yourself your Fanduel, and there is a DraftKings tab in here too. When we open up the NBA research station, we pop it out. There's the DraftKings stuff right here. You can scroll over and see we've got all of the players, all of their salaries. We've got some neat stats here that will normalize as the year goes on. Position, opponent, what they're qualified for, DVP, obviously game time. You want to click off on the games and play just the late slates? You can do that. All of our projections are in here with ceiling and floor values based on standard deviations. We've got minutes. Fantasy points per minute is huge in NBA, obviously. Full season stats, past opponent stats. Keep scrolling over. You'll find who's hot, and we'll find minutes per game over a certain time span. Vegas numbers, pace of play numbers, cash and GPP numbers, target and differentials. That's huge. That's huge in NBA. Consistency numbers, of course. You want to know if a guy's a cash play, hit his consistency, night in, night out. How often does he hit 4x, 5x, 6x? Stats per game. Opponents given up per game. And of course the 16-17 stats, which will blend into 2018 stats, 18-19 as we go. So you've got all these things at your research. You can dig into this baby as much as you want. And it go as deep as you want. And you can always take it out to the creators, Ben and CG, and you can ask them questions and get their feedback, get their answers. What's this and one metric mean? Go ask them. You can also always ask our coaches, hey, when so-and-so's out, look at this. When I come over here and I start looking for numbers, like usage and fantasy points per minute and all that kind of stuff, and I want to find out what happens when so-and-so's announced out at the last minute. That's the biggest thing our coaching channels allow you to do. is go ask the experts. We've got a couple of coaches on point every day. They write articles, they break down the slates, and then they sit in there for an hour and a half before lock, and they answer your live fire questions. So when a pivot comes up 30 minutes ahead of time, we can't tweet that information out. What we can do is tell you in our coaching channels live fire what the pivot would be. And we can help you edit your lineups and adjust your lineups. If you're on this guy, go to this guy. If you're on that guy, go to that guy. We do not build your lineups for you. We ultimately want that to be your decision. That way, you made the lineup, the winning lineup yourself, and you can build confidence in yourself that you become a better player. You get our help and you get our questions along the way, though. Now, what I will do today really quick before we bail out of here for NBA is we're going to look at, this is the first look article series that Notorious does on Roto Grinders. You hear me talk about it all the time. It's a great resource to start from. I'm looking for high over-unders, of course. I remember back in the day when 200 was a great game. Now we're looking at 220. But, Milwaukee, Charlotte might be a decent game. New Orleans, Houston. This is chalky stuff, guys. This isn't like third level crazy fancy stuff. That's why you're not paying for my YouTube channel. Nuggets, Clippers. These are spots we want to focus on. Come down here and look at the specific teams within it. We do the same thing for NFL, NHL, MLB, whatever. We do the same thing. It's the same process. It gets you started in the right direction. Houston, good spot. Denver, good spot. Toronto, good spot. Clippers, Pelicans, maybe the Bucks. Any of these top 5, 6, 7 teams, good spots. Those are the teams we want to be writing down names and numbers to. In fact, what I'll do is I'll write down Houston, I'll write down Denver, Toronto, LA Clippers, Pelicans, and Milwaukee Bucks. And what I'm going to do, not that all of a sudden Detroit becomes crap, but these are the teams I'm going to try and focus on finding players from and seeing inside those offenses now. Are they paced up? Are they pointed up? That's what we're going to find. See if we can find the points. We used to see that in this article where we would see their game average and then their expected point total for the night. We could see who was pointed up. And here's the reason why. We'll focus on pace of play for that. Here's the reason why we do that. When you've got a projected pace or an average team pace of 99.7 and a projected pace of 102 and you're paced up 3 extra possessions or so a game, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be. It's telling you the team's going to be forced to play a little faster than usual. More possessions means more opportunities for your main guys. And when I've got more opportunities to shoot, more opportunities to rebound the ball, more opportunities to score fantasy points, then in a predictive game like NBA, I can bump his projection, from say 22 points to maybe 22.5, 23. And what that's going to do on guys that are right on the fringe, because the pricing typically, or especially on Fanduel, pricing does not keep pace with how fast these teams change when they play opponent to opponent to opponent. What we're looking for is teams that are pointed up, meaning they're supposed to score more points than their average, and they're paced up, which means they're going to get more opportunities to score than average. That tells us that the players might be underpriced. Therefore, we're always looking for value in DFS. It's a good spot to start looking for value. When I see a team that's paced up 3 possessions per game, I'm going to be looking inside those Houston Rockets players for value. Might be James Harden. Might be somebody else. Might be 6-man coming off the bench to punt play. And on FanDuel this year, you get to throw away a player anyway. So you can take some chances. You can take some more chances. Same with Denver. Same with Toronto. These guys, they're not pointed or paced up as much, but they're in decent spots when it comes to implied team total. But look down here at the Dallas Mavericks. We didn't write them down, but they would be a team I would add to the list. Now I'm going to go looking inside. Dallas is going to start, well, first of all, in the beginning of the season, we start off with pretty cheap pricing anyway. It takes a little while for that stuff to catch up, but prices go up way faster than they come down. Talk to me in a month. This will become much more important. That's why we're starting to lay the foundation now. Scroll down here a little bit, don't really see me. And teams I might get off are teams that are paced down, like the Utah Jazz. Why? Because, again, when the prices don't react accordingly, they're priced up towards their average production and their average usage and their average ownership levels. And tonight is a night where they are more likely to get fewer opportunities to score, therefore score fewer points for you. So in a game like this where we operate in tighter channels of predictability, we can actually count on the Utah Jazz maybe being a little bit overpriced. Now, it's the beginning of the season. That's probably not the case now, but like I said, talk to me in a month, and you'll find that out. We can scroll down here to the matchup sheet, and we can start looking at DVP, and we can start looking at point guard DVP. So the Knicks, are they on our list? No. Doesn't mean we don't want to play them. They were pretty high up on the list in implied team total. Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks. We added the Dallas Mavericks to the list because they're going to be paced up. So, who's the Dallas Mavericks point guard? You know, I should know it off the top of my head, but I don't follow basketball as much anymore. So the way I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to find Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, and we know Phoenix is not very good at defense. That much I do know. Come down here to Phoenix, and find Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith draws the start. 6,600 might be a bargain because he's got good DVP. He's going to be paced up. So I would maybe write Dennis Smith down. And he might make a shorter list. Now, if I'm an MME guy and I'm playing many entries, then I might really spread that stuff out. And I might take some ownership of this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. But if I'm just playing a few lineups, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lineups, something like that, then I'm going to need to try to pick from the best of the best. I may narrow my list down to just 3 point guards. You know, I've got some decent usage out of Dennis Smith. He's in a paced up situation. He's going to get used. He will benefit from having a few extra possessions in the game. When I scroll back up, let's do a shooting guard. Dallas Mavericks, again. They've got a great DVP matchup, it appears, tonight. Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets were on our list, facing the Clippers. I don't know that Denver was paced up. They were just a high implied total team, correct? Probably pointed up. Paced up a little bit. Not terrible. So when I go to Denver facing the Clippers, I'm going to come down here to the shooting guards, and I'm going to look for the Clippers and find Gary Harris, 6,500. Another thing you might look for too is the DKFD salary gap. We'll talk about that another time. Or if you follow my hockey videos, we talked about it a lot yesterday and the day before, and it's worked 2 days in a row. Produced a couple top 100 lineups over there in hockey for you. So again, jack of all trades, master of none. Follow me. We'll talk all the sports. DVP efficiency's up there, right? Usage, that's a shooting guard. Usage is not. I mean, you don't get very many shooting guards like James Harden that are the focal point of the offense. You do get some that get bumps, but you know, Gary Harris is going to be a little bit more of a value price type of guy. But on a night like tonight, when you can throw a player away on Fanduel, why not? You know, he might make your list. I'm not saying he's my top shooting guard. I'm not ever going to go out on that limb. I'm saying he probably will be on the list because if I need the savings and need the money or need to, you know, take somebody who's in a good situation who might be a little bit underpriced based on matchup, usage, pace of play, you know, implied team total, things like that, might be worth considering. Go back up here to shoot a small forward. Do this with every position. Take your time. Dig in, write these guys down. Get your point guards down to where you've got 3 or 4. You've got, you know, or maybe 6 or 8, depending on how many lineups you want to make. 3, 4, 5 shooting guards, several. You know, what you're going to find is when it gets hard to make that list, and we may go through this in a little bit more depth as the season goes on, but when you find as you go down the list a little bit more, you will find positional scarcity. Last night we had what? We had no small forwards really on the list, only a couple to choose from, right? So in that case, you're sort of forced to pay up for the consistent guys, for the guys that are, and that forces you to pay down maybe in a deeper position like a point guard or a center spot, something that has a lot of you know, viability in terms of the position. So when I look down here at small forward again, Denver, Houston, I mean, Houston was paced up and applied to score the most. So when we go down here to Houston, go up against those New Orleans Pelicans. Small forward. Right at the top of the list, Mr. Ennis. You know, doesn't get a lot of usage. That one's a deep punt. Let's look for another one. It's amazing. If he gets a start, though, dirt cheap. I don't like the usage though. That one probably, even though he's in a paced up, pointed up situation, the usage isn't really there. It's not something I would probably go after. Now, if I go plug my stuff into our domination station optimizer later today when the projections get loaded in there and Ennis starts popping all over the place, I'll know why. I'll understand that he's in a very, very good spot tonight. That he is, his pace of play should come up. He's getting a lot more minutes than he's projected to. His price is dirt ass cheap. I've got the ability to take the 0 from him on Fanduel and pitch the score at the end of the night. He might end up being, now at first look, it doesn't look great, but he might end up being somebody that we end up having to use, or that we actually voluntarily choose to use because the situation's good surrounding him. Now, again, NBA is not my strong sport. I rely on a lot of our coaches in these Slack channels. I come over here, these coaching channels that we operate in. I come down here to NBA Talk. And I start talking about we start talking about all these guys. I'd come in here and I'd ask a question because or I teach some sports, I'd be a student in others. And that's the beauty of watching me go through this. So if you've made it this far through this video and you're already not laughing your ass off at me for voluntarily throwing myself to the wolves as an NBA novice, what you're going to find is how quickly I pick up the sport, and you're going to find out how quickly my process starts pointing me in the right direction and how it verifies throughout the day. You can learn any sport if you take a logical process, and I've got some experience with NBA 3 years ago. But what I'm telling you is I am the student most times, and I come in here and I ask our coaches. We've got some phenomenal coaches inside, from Boomer to Loose to Bear to Donuts to Puggle to God. We've got 5, 6, 7. I probably left somebody out. CG probably. I mean, these guys, they're good NBA players. Some of them play very, very high dollars, very, very high volume. You want to learn deeper than me, you take my basic knowledge and you apply it towards these guys. And you go in and you ask targeted questions. You go in and you ask smart questions. Something that will elicit a response, not, how's my lineup look? That wastes time. I know that everybody just wants a little bit of, pat on the butt. Hey, great job, looks great. But if you really want to know, you will ask players backed with numbers and say, okay, I found this and I found that. Which one do you agree with? And you will get great conversation. You will get so much out of this coaching. You will be teaching yourself to go digging for numbers. You will also be verifying that you are on the right path for yourself. And you will get answered every time you ask a question because our coaches will love talking with you because you're intelligent, you're prepared. You're not just coming in there looking for a quick answer. Player A or player B, woohoo, thanks, woo. It's not going to get you a lot out of the coaching. Just telling you. If you're somebody who wants to really learn these sports, act like it. Get in here, ask these questions. Our coaches will love you. Up here in my own channel this morning, I threw down a couple of tips. Showed people that, my little lineup did okay. It was on top of the leaderboards halfway through the slate last night, fell to 7th. Hey, I'll take a top 10% lineup anytime in hockey. Very volatile sport. We go through, I don't care if you just won $1.80 and you're learning the game. That's a victory, man. That's worth encouragement. People ask me, what do I do when I play NBA? I understand the contests. I understand the double ups and the triple up lines are usually very, very close together in NBA, so I don't play a lot of double ups in NBA. I play triple ups. I mean, if I'm only got 4 more points, 5 more points, 8 more points to go, and we're already talking about a total score of 280 to 330, I mean, we're talking about a 1%, 2% shift. That's such a skinny window that I don't want to get paid double anymore. I want to get paid triple. If you want to talk about stuff like that, I can definitely point you in the right direction. I have different ladders, different allocations of contests for every single sport, and I can tell you exactly how to play them and exactly how to maximize your lineups floor and upside to make you a profitable player. All you have to do is learn how to put the lineups together. Maybe you follow me a little bit for that, maybe you don't. That's up to you. But either way, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the video today, to watch a little bit of our tools, to watch a little bit of where we go to start our process, or where I go to start my process, and then what I do in a sport I don't know a lot about, where I then jump in and I start asking the questions and I start trying to learn the sport. And you'll see that over the next few months if we have the time to continue down the NBA path. I want to cover NHL, I want to cover NBA, and I want to cover NFL this year through these videos. If these are your main sports guys, we'll obviously do baseball. But if these are your main sports guys, maybe we'll talk a little bit of PGA here and there, like leading up to the Masters, things like that. But when this is the way things go, for me, this is what you're following, and you're going to learn that you can become a very well-rounded DFS player and you can do damage in every sport. And it doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of resources. What it takes is having access to the best value in all of DFS, which is DFSArmy.com. All sports covered, one fee. One coaching subscription, one nominal investment in yourself. Use a coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, trigger that 10% off. Jump in here, utilize all of our experts. You don't have to be an expert. All you have to know is who they are, and we've got them. Best value in DFS. DFSArmy.com. This has been Chop Talk for NBA Tuesday, NBA Wednesday. Come back and see us again. We'll start talking NFL as the week rolls on. We'll also talk a little bit more hockey tomorrow maybe. But today's an NBA day. Hope you're there. See ya.